The first time my husband touched me, I closed my eyes and forced my body to react the way he wanted it to. He thought he was stepping into untouched territory. He thought he was the first man to ever feel my skin tremble under his hands. I let him believe it. I kissed him back like a woman overwhelmed. I moaned his name like it was the very first name to ever escape my lips in passion. But deep inside, I was a liar. Because the truth is, my husband is not the first. There was another man before him, his hands, his lips, his body. He had already broken me in ways my husband could never imagine. I told myself that my past did not matter, that what he did not know could not hurt him. But every time my husband looked at me with those eyes, full of trust, admiration, and unshakable belief that I had given him something pure, I felt my chest tighten. I had betrayed him long before I ever said, "I do." And that buried secret was about to ruin me in ways I never saw coming. Before I go deeper into this story, I want to take a moment to appreciate every single one of you watching right now. To all my subscribers, thank you for being the heartbeat of this channel. To all my new and returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel and the energy that keeps powering this channel, and your comments, your thoughts, and your engagement are what give these stories life. So, immediately after this hook, do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Let us dive in. My name is Sarah. I am an American woman, born and raised in the suburbs of Virginia. I was 28 years old when I married Daniel, a man who was everything a woman could ever dream of. He was kind, loyal, hardworking, and he looked at me as if I was the only woman in the world. Daniel came from a family that valued tradition and honor. His parents were still married, and they believed in fairy tale love stories. To him, marriage was sacred, and intimacy was even more sacred. He told me once, in his deep, serious tone, that he had saved himself for me, and he prayed that I had done the same. That was the moment I froze inside. Because while I nodded my head, while I gave him the answer he wanted, inside me lived a memory that I never erased. A memory of another man. His name was Jason. Jason was not Daniel. He was everything Daniel was not. Dangerous, wild, unpredictable. I met him years before Daniel, back when I was just 21, working part-time at a local gym to pay my way through college. Jason was one of those men who knew how to command attention. Tall, athletic, with a smile that could disarm anyone. He had a way of looking at me that made me feel like I was already naked in his presence. I fought it at first. I told myself I was too good, too smart, too focused on my future to fall for someone like him. But the way he leaned close when he spoke to me, the way his hand brushed against mine when I handed him his receipt, the way he lingered near me long after his workouts were done, it was only a matter of time before I gave in. And I did. That night is burned into my memory like a scar that never fades. It was not sweet, it was not romantic, it was raw. He knew what he was doing, and I let him take every piece of me without resistance. I remember the heat of his body, the taste of his lips, the reckless hunger that drowned out reason. I remember how guilty I felt the very next morning, but also how much I craved it again. That was the night Jason took something from me that Daniel would later believe was his. Years later, when I met Daniel, I told myself it was a new beginning. He was gentle, patient, and so unlike Jason. For the first time, I felt safe. I wanted to be worthy of him, so I buried Jason deep in my past. I never mentioned him. I never hinted at what we had done. When Daniel proposed, when I wore his ring, when we planned our wedding, I pretended to be the woman he thought I was. Pure. Untouched. His first. On our wedding night, as Daniel kissed me like I was his dream come true, I felt the lie grow heavier inside me. He whispered against my skin that he was glad I waited for him, that I was his gift from God. I smiled, but inside I screamed, because I had not waited. I had already given myself away. The guilt did not go away. Instead, it grew sharper with time. Every time Daniel held me, every time he looked at me with pride, every time he introduced me to his friends as his one and only, I felt the weight of Jason's ghost pressing on me. And the worst part was, I still remembered Jason's touch. I still remembered his intensity. And sometimes, in the quiet moments when Daniel was asleep beside me, I hated myself for replaying Jason's name in my mind. Daniel thought he was the first. He thought he was the only one. But my past was a shadow that refused to disappear. And as much as I tried to silence it, I knew deep inside that secrets like mine never stay buried forever. What I did not know then was that Jason was not done with me, and that the truth I thought I had buried in the past was about to crawl back into my present and destroy everything I had built with Daniel. Jason never really left me. Even after I married Daniel, even after I moved into a home that was supposed to symbolize my fresh start, his presence lingered in the shadows of my memory. Some nights, I would lie next to Daniel, my husband's steady breathing in my ear, and I would remember Jason's voice. It was deeper, rougher, and carried a weight that made me tremble. I hated myself for thinking of him, but no matter how much I buried it, Jason was stitched into me like a scar under the skin. Daniel never suspected a thing. He was a man who trusted too easily, who loved without reservation. When he looked at me, I could see myself reflected in his admiration, and it made me sick because I knew I did not deserve it. He thought I had saved myself for him. He thought he was the first to touch me in ways no other man had. But Jason had already been there. Jason had already marked me. The first time I saw Jason again after years of silence, it was at a cafe near the gym where we had first met. Daniel had just started a new work schedule, and I stopped by to grab a coffee before heading home. I walked in with my hair tied up, no makeup, just a plain white blouse and jeans. And then I heard it. "Sarah?" His voice froze me mid-step. I turned, and there he was, standing only a few feet away, as if he had been waiting for me all this time. His body was broader now, his jawline sharper, but his eyes, the same intense, devouring eyes, still had the power to strip me bare in seconds. I forced a smile, the kind you give when you bump into someone you're not supposed to see again. "Jason," I whispered, my throat suddenly dry. He stepped closer, his lips curling into that familiar smirk. "I thought you disappeared." I wanted to walk away, to grab my coffee and leave, but my feet betrayed me. I stood there, still, while his presence pulled me in like it always had. My chest pounded with guilt and something else, desire. We sat down at a corner table, and within minutes, it felt as if no time had passed. He asked me about my life, and I told him I was married. His eyes darkened when I said Daniel's name, but instead of pulling back, he leaned forward, his voice dropping low. "Does he know?" Jason asked. I froze. "Know what?" His gaze pierced mine. "That I was there first." The words cut through me like glass. My hands trembled around my coffee cup. I shook my head, trying to force a laugh, but my voice betrayed me. "No, he does not." Jason's smirk deepened. "So, he lives in a fantasy. And you let him." I should have walked away. I should have ended the conversation then, and there. But I did not. Because part of me, God help me, missed this. Missed Jason. Missed the way he spoke to me like he owned me, like he could see the side of me that Daniel never would. When I left that cafe, I told myself it was just a coincidence. I told myself I would never see Jason again. But the next week, I found myself back there at the same time hoping to run into him. And I did. The meetings became more frequent, more deliberate. Each time we sat across from each other, I felt myself unraveling. Jason would bring up the past, our nights together, the way I had surrendered to him without hesitation. He would lean close, his breath brushing my ear as he whispered details I should have forgotten, but never did. And every time he did, my body betrayed me, responding with a hunger I thought I had buried with my vows. At home, Daniel noticed a change. He would ask me why I was distracted, why I smiled to myself at odd times. "Elite." I told him work was stressful, or that I was tired. He believed me because that is who Daniel was, trusting to the very end. But Jason did not stop there. He started texting me late at night. At first, I ignored them, but soon, I found myself waiting for them. His words were fire, laced with temptation and memories that pulled me back into the past I swore I had left behind. One night, I caved. Daniel was asleep, his arm draped across my waist, when Jason's message lit up my phone. "Do you remember the way you moaned my name? Do you remember how you begged me not to stop?" I should have deleted it. Instead, I read it again and again until my heart raced. My body shifted under Daniel's arm, restless, conflicted, but undeniably alive in ways it had not been in years. That was the night I realized something terrifying. I had never truly let Jason go. I had married Daniel. I had built a life with him, but deep inside, Jason still owned a part of me. And he knew it. The following week, Jason asked me to meet him at a hotel outside of town. My stomach twisted when I read the message. Every rational part of me screamed to delete it, to never respond. But my fingers betrayed me. I typed back one word. When I told Daniel I was working late that night. He kissed me on the forehead, told me not to tire myself out, and promised to save me dinner. I smiled, kissed him back, and walked out of the house carrying the weight of a betrayal so deep it could crush me. When I reached the hotel, Jason was already there, leaning against the doorframe of his room, waiting for me like a predator waits for its prey. My knees weakened at the sight of him. His smirk told me everything. I was already his, no matter how much I pretended otherwise. The moment I stepped inside, the door shut, and the past I thought I had buried came roaring back to life. His hands, his lips, his body, it was all too familiar, too intoxicating. And even as guilt clawed at me, even as Daniel's face flashed in my mind, I let Jason consume me again. When it was over, I lay there in silence, staring at the ceiling, drowning in shame. Jason looked at me with satisfaction, his arm draped over me like I was his prize. "You can lie to him," he whispered, "but you cannot lie to yourself. You were mine, before you were ever his. And you always will be." His words echoed in my head long after I left that hotel. At home, Daniel welcomed me with a smile, reheated the dinner he had saved for me, and asked me how my day was. I swallowed my guilt with every bite, smiling back, pretending nothing had happened. But deep inside, I knew the truth. The past never dies. And mine had just come back to destroy me. Secrets have a strange way of slipping through the cracks. No matter how careful you think you are, no matter how hard you bury the truth, lies have a way of finding the light. I thought I could keep my past hidden. I thought Jason could remain a ghost I occasionally entertained in the dark. But what I did not know was that ghosts never stay quiet forever. It happened on a Wednesday evening. Daniel came home earlier than usual, his shoulders sagging from a long day at work. I had just stepped out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, when I saw his face. He was holding my phone in his hand. My stomach dropped. "Who is Jason?" he asked. His voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. I froze. My mouth opened, but no words came out. My phone, the device I thought I had guarded carefully, betrayed me. Jason's messages, raw, explicit, undeniable, were right there for Daniel to read. He threw the phone onto the bed. "Tell me the truth, Sarah. Who is Jason? And do not lie to me." I stood there, shaking, the towel slipping slightly as my body betrayed the tremor in my bones. For years, I had rehearsed 1,000 excuses in my head, but in that moment, none of them could leave my lips. My silence was my confession. Daniel's chest rose and fell as the weight of realization sank in. His eyes, those trusting eyes that once held nothing but love for me, now burned with rage and pain. "All this time," he whispered, "I thought I was the first. I thought you were mine. And the truth is, you gave yourself to another man before me." Tears filled my eyes, but they did not soften his anger. He stepped closer, his jaw clenched, his voice shaking. "You lied to me, Sarah. You lied to me every single day of our marriage. You made me believe I was your first, your only. But I was never that. I was living in a fantasy you built for me." I tried to reach for him, but he pulled back like my touch burned him. "It was before you. I said desperately, my voice breaking. It did not mean anything. I buried it. I wanted to start fresh with you. Daniel's laugh was hollow, bitter. Do you think that makes it better? Do you think knowing you let him touch you first, knowing you gave him what you told me was mine, makes this easier to accept? The room spun around me. My chest tightened with panic. I wanted to scream, to beg, to promise him that I loved him now, that Jason was nothing but a mistake. But my words were too late, my truth too poisonous. Then his face changed. His eyes narrowed, and he asked the question that ripped the air out of my lungs. Did you see him again? My silence betrayed me. Daniel staggered back, as if I had struck him. He covered his face with both hands, his shoulders trembling. When he looked up, his eyes glistened with tears. You did you not? You let him touch you again, after everything I gave you, after everything I sacrificed for you. You gave him what was supposed to be mine alone. I fell to my knees, sobbing. Daniel, please. Do not say my name. He shouted, his voice breaking the walls around us. Do not say my name with that mouth you used to lie to me. He grabbed my clothes from the dresser, throwing them at me. His movements were frantic, furious, as if he needed to erase every trace of me from his life. Get out, he said, his voice hoarse. You will not stay in this house another night. I begged him, clinging to the edge of the bed, tears streaming down my face. Please do not do this. We can work through it. I will cut Jason off. I will do anything. Daniel's eyes darkened with a finality I had never seen before. There is no working through betrayal. You let another man into your body, into your soul, and then you let me believe I was the first. You destroyed me, Sarah. And there is no coming back from that. He opened the front door, his hand gripping the frame so tightly his knuckles turned white. Take your things and leave. Do not come back. Do not call me. Do not try to fix this. You made your choice the moment you let him back in. And now you can live with it. The night air hit me as I stumbled outside, clutching a small bag of clothes, my body shaking with cold and grief. Behind me, the door slammed shut, the sound echoing like a final nail in the coffin of our marriage. I stood on the sidewalk, staring at the house that was once my home, the home of a man who believed in me, who loved me with every fiber of his being. And I realized in that moment that I had lost everything, not because of Jason, not because of fate, but because of me. I destroyed the only man who ever truly loved me. And there was no forgiveness waiting for me on the other side. As I walked away, the weight of my choices crushed me. My husband thought he was the first, but he was not. And now he would be the last.